Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Inside the LPGA podcast. Thank you all so much for listening, for tuning in, and for watching. However you are watching this podcast, we're just so thankful that you are here. I am Hope Barnett, an LPGA Tour reporter and host, and I am joined, as always, by my wonderful co-hosts and friends, Emma Talley and Adam Stanley. I almost just mixed up y'all's last names. I almost said Emma Stanley, but it's fine.
It's fine. Everything's
We're
fine. It's good.
It's early, all right.
There is. That's
Is
true.
there?
His daughter.
Okay.
My beloved daughter.
Sorry,
It does exist. Yeah.
Hope is not thanking.
My brain isn't
She's
working.
gone.
She's gone.
correctly.
She's sunburned. Yeah.
It was hot there, guys. I'm still partially recovering. I was at the Epson Tour Championship. It was a hot one. It was in like Palm Springs area, but it was absolutely beautiful over there. I loved every second of it. I spent one night at the pool, which honestly healed me
There you
for
go.
the whole week.
Yeah.
I was fine after that. And it was a great week at the Epson Tour Championship. So many great storylines, so many great girls. I had so much fun, but I am in Texas now, so I'm happy to be not where a hurricane is barreling towards me. I was going to go to Florida and I was like, I should probably reroute. So I am in Texas, but how are we guys? I feel like Emma is like the queen of side quests and she's always somewhere new doing something new.
Yeah.
So tell me where you are, Emma.
Well, I want to say first, like the hurricane's so scary. So prayers to everyone being impacted by that. It's horrific. I know a lot of the girls on tour, I texted yesterday and they're evacuating. So hopefully their homes are okay. But currently I am in sunny Bowling Green, Kentucky. And I'm at the KHSAA tournament, which is fun. It's super fun. I won the state tournament 3 out of 4 times back in the day. The fourth one,
Okay.
I disqualified myself because I signed for the wrong scorecard. So I would have won 4 out of 4.
You did the honorable thing.
Oh.
I'm back on my stomping grounds, which is pretty fun. We have a kid from my hometown that's playing today, and then my coaches are here with their high school kids. So here just enjoying the day. I'm going to help the WKU girls this afternoon. I'm volunteering, helping them out here and there. So anyways, that's what I'm doing. I am the woman of quest this year.
Yes, you are. Side quest queen. Adam, what are you
What's
up to?
happening? Yeah, it finally happened. It's a little bit early for this, but I woke up this morning and it was below 0 degrees Celsius where I live. So that's about 30-ish Fahrenheit. A little frost situation has already started to unfold here at home. Now it's burned off and it's going to get up and it's going to be nice over the next couple days. But that was like the sign that we're inching ever closer to the fall and dare I say the winter as well. But quick calendar updates for my two beloved American co-hosts here. This weekend is Canadian Thanksgiving, so it's a big, nice little time with fam going to the lake for a couple days. And now we eat the exact same stuff you guys do, but
I was going to say, what's the foods? But you answered that.
Now we do, but you guys and I'm throwing a large umbrella to Americans and the two of you, I guess, being from the South, if you will. I'm going to put that in air quotes, but we don't have the sweet potato with the marshmallow thing. We don't do that.
That's
like
the best.
Okay, well, so we don't have
Adam,
that.
I need you to pull through and make some for your Thanksgiving.
Send you a recipe.
The regular, like the
Same.
turkey, the stuffing, the glazed carrots. I could go on and on about like the normal stuff, but I got to say that the sweet potato and the marshmallow thing, not
do you
on
do
our
pumpkin
tables.
pie?
Oh yes, pumpkin pie, apple
Okay.
pie, stuff of that nature, of course.
interesting.
Okay,
but yeah.
so you have most of it.
I would say probably 99% of the stuff is the same,
And
but
what day is it on?
it's always the second. It always changes. It's like the second Sunday of October. That's when the dinner is, and then we have the Monday itself is like a holiday, so it's always a weekend.
Oh.
So it's like Friday, Saturday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday is like Thanksgiving weekend. You guys have like Wednesday, everyone's ejecting,
day.
doing whatever. Thursday's the
Yeah.
big thing. Friday, if you're working, you're like
Football.
a sucker. Saturday, Sunday, like it's a whole big thing,
the
right?
best
Ours
weekend.
is just like we got this one day, slap it in there, eat some food, get together,
Nice.
go for a fall walk, probably take some Instagram pictures, do that sort of thing, and be done with it. So there you go. But yeah, anyways, there you go. That's what's happening. It's Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving
in Canada. Yeah, if you guys want to mix in like
Yeah.
a plate of turkey and stuffing and stuff like this weekend, like by all means, you can.
For you.
Just for me.
Not for the and Emma Stanley. I'm so sorry. I apologize to your daughter.
There you go. No, oh my gosh. So yeah, but it's a nice time of the year. You know, it's it finally from sort of my on-site coverage stuff. It's slowed right down after the President's Cup a couple weeks ago, and you know, I'll be at the season finale for the LPGA Tour, the CME Tour Championship, which I've been to the last couple of years, which I can't wait to get to once again and see you guys. But yeah, no, it's a nice time of the year to be a little bit slower with things, which is great.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't know Canadian Thanksgiving was a thing until last year when you told me, Adam, that it was happening. And I was like, the more you know. We learn something new every single day. Well, we all know that the three of us could yap for hours and go on and talk about everything and nothing at the same time. But we
do
have
like a yap.
We do love a yap, this and yap. But we have some important topics to get to. Like I said, I was just at the Epson Tour Championship, and it is one of my favorite weeks that I get to work all year. It is so exciting to cover, and you get to see a lot of people's life kind of change and the trajectory of it, you know, go maybe in a different direction that they weren't expecting. So I want to talk about that, guys, if that's all right. Let's chat about the Epson Tour Championship at Indian Wells. It was in California. It's usually in Daytona Beach, but they moved it to the other coast. So I just got back from there, and technically 15 cards were given out, but really where you wanted to be at the end of the week was in that 1 through 10 in the race for the card, because they get really good status in 2025 on the LPGA Tour, and 11 through 15 they get status, but it's obviously just not as good. And so the girl who won, her name is Heather Lynn. She is such a cutie. I absolutely loved getting to know her, and it was just so many good storylines. People were moving in and out of the top 15 constantly. I was like always refreshing my computer. I became a mathematician by the end of the week, I felt like. So Emma, I know you played on the Epson Tour a bit this year. So I just want you to talk on that, because every time I'm out there, I walk away feeling so like grateful. I don't know how to explain it. Like everyone is so nice, but it is such a grind for those players. So if you could just talk on the Epson Tour in general and how maybe you kind of grow in that role, I guess.
Yeah, I think you definitely, first of all, people ask me all the time, how do you become a professional golfer? And honestly, you have to love it. Like, you have to love the game. And when you go to the Epson Tour, it shows that love for the game, because it's hard out there. The grind is real. You're not making a lot of money. You're traveling to out in the middle of nowhere places, and we do have wonderful, wonderful sponsors that have come up in a big way since the time when I got my card back in 2017. The purses are much better now than they used to be, but the players are staying together. They're staying in host families. They're carpooling. It's a tough grind out there travel-wise, but also, as you know, like the depth on that tour is deep, and you have to play well. Yeah. There's several girls that have been on LPGA for years, and then they lost their card, and they've been on Epson for years now. So it just shows how there's a fine line between the LPGA Tour and the Epson Tour, and it's a great road. From a college perspective, it was a great road for me after college to go through Epson Tour, because it teaches you how to travel. It teaches you how to play week in to week out instead of just getting pushed into the tour life.
So yes, it is a grind, is what Emma is saying. I want to quickly go over who the top 10 are that got their card. So first and foremost, we have Lauren Stevenson, which that name will probably sound familiar to a lot of people listening. She played on the LPGA Tour for a very long time and is now heading back to the LPGA Tour. So very exciting. Number 2 is Yahui Zhang. Number 3 is Fatima Fernandez Cano, which we are having on the podcast later, so stay tuned. Number 4 is Jessica Pravosnik. In 5 is Brooke Matthews. 6 is Ingrid Lindblad. 7 is Ginny Bay. 8 is Fiona Xu. 9 is Madison Young, and 10 is Cassie Porter. And we have some also really big names in 11 through 15 who will most likely go to final qualifying to make their status even better, to hopefully get even better status on the LPGA Tour next year. But Adam, from an outside perspective, looking at that list, like I already said, there's some great stories in there, but who intrigues you the most? Who should we keep an eye on?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna mention two names, but I think you talked about Heather Lynn already, but I think big shout out to her if I've read it correctly, and you can jump in, but she could have only gotten into that magic top 15 with a victory at that season, at the season finale. And that is exactly what she did, right? And when you think about just like zooming out and realize like we have literally nothing to lose. We're going to go after it. We're going to go all gas, no brakes. We're going to try to take this thing across the finish line and get that massive carrot at the very end of it all. And she did exactly that. And I think that that's amazing. So Heather Lynn, Chinese Taipei, shout out to her for that, because also the winner on the PGA Tour on Sunday, Kevin Yu, was also from Chinese Taipei. So a little bit of Taiwanese connection.
Getting a lot of love.
Right there. Absolutely, which was great. So her second year on the Epson Tour, Heather Lynn, just absolutely fantastic effort from her. So I think a deserving shout out to Heather and just a wonderful finish to her season. You can't beat that. Win and you're in. Love it. 10 out of 10. Now, always, and forever. But I think the one name that was really standing out, and I think whether you're a casual golf fan, whether you're someone who maybe just watches one tournament a year, hopefully you watch a little bit more than that. But if you're just a kind of a Masters watcher in the springtime, like you're gonna know Ingrid Lindblad because of her effort at the Augusta National Women's Amateur over the last couple of years. Obviously finally turns pro, hits the ball a long way. And I think the really, really unique thing about Ingrid's effort over the last half year or so is that she earned an LPGA Tour card playing in only 9 events on the Epson Tour. So she was out there absolutely dialed, a decorated amateur, collegiate golfer at LSU. Only 9 starts. I got only 9 starts on the Epson Tour. She got 1 win, 4 other top 10 finishes, and earned a LPGA Tour card for next year. So although she might have been kind of the layup, the easy name to pick out of them all, she is a deserving name to keep an eye out for next year, just because of how well she's become adjusted to the pro game and how successful she was in such a short period of time.
I have to add a little bit of something in there too. Help, sorry.
I was about to toss it to you. So
I think that I got to play with her in Portland this year, and she played several LPGA events as well this year. So on top of really, like you said, earning her card, she truly earned it. I mean, they all did, but like you said, she didn't have many tournaments that she really was able to take advantage of the Epson Tour, and she still did it. But at the same time, she got her feet wet on the LPGA Tour, which I just think is a big step, because now she knows what to expect out there. She knows how to carry herself. She knows what it's like, and she's not going to be questioning it. It's not going to be a whole new world to learn. She's going in with a little bit of experience. She's going in with the caddy that she's hired from the LPGA Tour that she's had this whole year.
Scotty.
So, yeah, she shout out Scotty. But, yeah, it's going to be a good year for her to kind of get into the LPGA Tour, not be scared, and be able to just play golf.
Definitely. Well, with that, we have, like I already mentioned, we have a very, very exciting guest joining us, and that is Fatima Fernandez Cano. And she has had such a crazy route to the LPGA. She obviously got onto the LPGA at one point and then got hurt, went back down to Epson Tour. She's won 3 times on Epson Tour, and now she is on her way back to the LPGA. She is loved by so many players, and I love her as well. She's such a sweet, sweet person and just so positive. She just has that light about her. So thankfully, we are going to catch up with her. So let's roll the tape. All right, everybody, welcome Fati to the Inside the LPGA podcast. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. I know you literally just got home from California, so thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, congratulations. We are so excited for you and we cannot wait to see you on the LPGA Tour once again. And I think we just need to hop in right there and start talking about that because it was a very exciting week for you last week. I got to be there. I got to witness everyone getting their cards, which I absolutely love. It's like I've said it so many times and I'll say it again, but it's one of my favorite weeks to work. But I just want to talk a little bit about your journey, getting here because, you've gone a little bit back and forth between Epson and LPGA, but in that process, especially like this year, what have you learned about yourself just in general as a golfer and also as a player?
I mean, it has been a crazy, I guess, even a couple of years, like you said, like you mentioned. I did have my LPGA card the 2022 year. Technically, 2021, I only played one event that year. 2022 was my first full year on the LPGA. Didn't play very well. I was injured. I didn't really know it. It was just a very tough time, I guess. And then I went back to the Epson Tour. Last year, I didn't really play that much at all. So I guess that has given me more perspective than anything else. I've learned about myself. I've learned more about my game. I think I'm a better player now than I was a couple of years ago, which hopefully will, play in my favor the next year or so. But yeah, just again, like I think I just gained perspective, and it's given me more knowledge about my own game for sure.
I want to ask about the bracelet that you wear. I think I'm going to butcher it, but it is. Can you say it? I was going to try to say it, but I don't speak Spanish, so
You can say it.
Okay. I'll try. Todo cuenta, todo vale.
Yes, there you go.
Okay,
okay. That was
my
good.
4 years of Spanish in high school. But tell us what it means.
Now you say it.
Yeah.
It's pretty close. Todo cuenta, todo vale. And then
It just sounds better when you say
it. They're also the initials of my friend Celia, or Celia, how she would say it to the Americans. Yeah, it's just another reminder of there's just way more important things, I guess, out there than golf sometimes. So like when I'm going through a hard time, and it just puts, again, I mean, I use this word a lot, but I just puts it in perspective as well. It helps me on the golf course. I also have a head cover. My driver head cover also has their initials. But it's just a little reminder that every little thing counts. Todo cuenta means everything, and any little thing counts. Every little thing counts. And todo vale, like like basically just a reminder that every little thing that I can do counts towards something. Whether it's on the golf course, every shot, every little point that I can get in the rankings this year, like it was all counts towards something bigger, I guess, in a way.
Oh, I love that. Emma, take it away.
What through your injury, what kind of got you back, and how I feel like it's hard when you have to take 2 steps backwards to get that 1 step forward. I saw you at the beginning of the year in Florida at the first Epson Tour event that I saw you at the tournament, and you're like, yeah, it's been hard because now I've also not played a tournament round in so long. How was that bounce back, and like how did you prepare during an injury?
It was pretty crazy, and it's so funny you mentioned that tournament in Alaqua this year. So a year ago then, I literally, and this is going to sound crazy, I shot an 89 in that golf course. I could not go and play the next day because I shot an 89, and there's an 88 rule that says you can't come back the next day.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that was probably like at the very rock bottom of my injury, because that's when I was like, I can't play like this clearly. I want to go home to Spain, and I want to figure out what's wrong with my arm, because it was just really tough to figure out. It's not an injury that you break something and then you go and go surgery, put a cast on, and move on. It was more of I think the toughest thing for me was mentally, just because I thought I was going crazy. Just to give you a little background on the injury, it was basically I felt like my right arm would lose its strength, and so I could not hold on to the club. Now, it was very hard to figure out what it was. At the end, it ended up being like two nerves in my forearm that were entrapped. And the surgery itself was not super hard, and the recovery from the surgery was not super tough. But it was the 6 months of not competing, of not playing, and of thinking that I was quitting golf. And to give you an idea how ready I was to quit, or how much I thought I was quitting, in August, that was it. Doctors couldn't figure it out. I started a master's degree online. and I said, this is it. I'm ready for the next phase of my life. And I was super lucky that in September I saw my last doctor's appointment, and I went in and said, Doc, you're my last resort. Like I'm ready to quit. This is it. If you can't figure it out, I'm done. And I was very lucky that he did figure it out. So it was kind of crazy just because like mentally, it was a struggle mentally just to think that I was going crazy to start with. And then I guess the biggest relief was when he was like, this is the injury that you have. I think we can get you back playing golf. And yeah, after 6 months of not competing, I actually went to play European Tour Q School last December, just as let's see how my arm is doing. Let's see if I can still play golf. And I don't know, it just made it more fun. So in a way, yeah, it was tough going back to competition. The first few rounds were, I mean, it was crazy. You can only imagine after not competing for like 6 months to get out on the golf course, and now every shot counts. Like I have to actually finish the hole. Like this is weird. But it was an easier transition than I expected, just because I was way more excited to be out there. I was very, very nervous, but at the end of the day, I started getting control back of my golf swing and of my golf game, which I hadn't felt that in like a couple of years. So that actually felt really good.
Yeah, totally. I remember also when we played together a practice round in Australia. Was it Australia? No, Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland.
That could be
We
it.
played
Yep.
me, you, and Casey. We played a practice round. And
Yes.
we talked about the grind. And now that you've experienced the grind both on the LPGA Tour and then you had to go back to Epson Tour, I know the LPGA grind that first year was kind of a shock for you. Going into this upcoming season, is there anything that you're going to do differently? Is there anything that you've learned now that you know what to expect out on tour?
Yes, definitely. I don't know if I was either trying too hard or everything is different on the LPGA. And I was used to just like doing my own game, that it was not, I love to grind when I'm at home and practice real hard. When I'm at the tournament, there was times on the Epson Tour that I did not even know where the range was until like Wednesday, just because I was like more like play on the course, but like that was my thing. That's what I used to do. And I think I got out on the LPGA and I thought I had to, like do way more because I saw people doing more, because you get out on the LPGA and it's a little bit of a shock. I was used to the Epson Tour then, where you know how it is. We travel by ourselves for the most part. There's like not that many caddies. There's like not coaches out there at all. There's like nothing. It's just us. It's like going out to play golf with your friends in a way. And then I got on the LPGA and it was like everything around it was so much more. Like there were like coaches around. There was caddies around, of course. There was like reps out there. Like it's just so many more people. And to me, I was a little bit overwhelmed. And I think part of me wondered if I truly belong out there, just because I didn't feel like I had that in a way. Now I know that I don't need certain things. I'm good, just like my game is good enough. Exactly. So that's definitely something that I take with me on. I hope I can take with me onto the LPGA, and hopefully that'll be a better year just because of that.
Yeah. I have to tell the listeners, when I first met her, she was actually working in the pro shop where I was honorary member. And she was like, yeah, I'm trying to get my card and I'm going to go to Q school. And we became friends. And I don't live in Birmingham anymore. But are you still working behind the counter sometimes?
I no longer work behind the counter. I am very proud to say that I did for about a year after college. I did work at Shoal Creek at the golf shop, and it was a great time. I got to meet wonderful people, and I still am able to call Shoal Creek my home course. So super proud of that. It's a great spot. So it was a great way to kind of like get introduced to the golf world, to the Birmingham world, and I still live in Birmingham. I'm still here, so I did like it, but it is very funny to kind of think back, I guess 5, 6 years or 7, I don't even know how many it's been, when I met you there, and he's like, yeah, I'm just, I'm trying to make it.
Yeah, and look now who's interviewing who, how the world changes. One more question for me is just like, now that you do know what to expect, you know who you are as a golfer, how are you going to prepare for the season next year? You have a lot, this is probably the longest break you've ever had in terms of, other than the injury, but like an off season where you can actually practice and get better and enjoy it, because next year you won't have an off season. You'll have like 4 weeks. So what are you going to go on any vacations? Are you going to practice? Are you going to go home to Spain? Where are you going? What are you doing?
Yeah, something that I learned also from my injury and stuff, and I told myself I was going to take time to enjoy myself, in every season, because I used to be like, oh my goodness, if I quit playing for 3 days I'm gonna forget how to play. Like that was, I mean, it's a bit dramatic, but that's kind of like the thought because we're so used to play, practice,
Feel guilty almost.
right? Exactly. And actually, this year for the first time, I took a vacation in the middle of the summer because one of my friends was getting married, and I took like a 9 days off in the middle of the season. We had a 3-week break, and I took 9 days of like no golf, and it was great for me because I went to do what I love to do. I travel around a little bit, so I want to do that a little bit. I also have a couple more events that I'm playing in the European Tour, so I have somewhat of a very long off season, but in the next couple months, I have 2 more tournaments. So I will be taking a vacation. Actually, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going for a whole week. No golf, just, travel around, hike.
That's exciting.
Yes, I'm super excited about that. And then come back and prepare for the last couple tournaments of the season.
Awesome. This is one of my favorite parts of the podcast. My sponsors, Serve Pro, have come in a big way.
Yes, they have. And not only have they come in a big way for this podcast, but also just in general with all of the hurricane relief. So want to give them an extra shout out there as well. But in golf, when bad shots happen, there's the Mulligan ball. And when fire, water, or other damage happens, there's Serve Pro.
And that's where our question comes to you is if you had a mulligan, whether it be in golf or in life, where would that be?
I think it would have been over the last couple of years. I would have gone to check my injury and actually believed that I had something wrong with my arm a little bit earlier. And so like I would have probably quit playing a little bit earlier and get it figured out. And, you kind of think back and it's like, would I even like I would have made it get my LPGA, blah, 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 So I think that would have been it. I think 2 years ago, I would have just like got picked up and gone home and be like, I want to get this checked.
Yeah.
But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
That's right.
I know you, and I know that you're going to take this and you're going to kill it next year because you know who you are. You've been through it. You know what it feels like to lose your card. You know the ropes. So I'm really excited to see you next year. I know your golf game is plenty good enough. She's a bomber, guys. So
Yeah,
she has the length for the tour, which is something that I have struggled with myself. So I'm so excited to watch you next year. It's going to be so fun.
I'm very excited. Thank you, Emma.
Another segment of the podcast that we have is we have a little bit of a Instagram investigation where we go back to someone's social feed and we find something from way back and take a look. Now, you had something really, really cool. So it was a throwback where you put a bed in a van and called it your home for a week. And I thought this was amazing. Look at that. I mean, the view, unbelievable views, first and foremost. And then, is that really a bed in the back of a van?
Yeah.
Did you what
100%.
did you do? Tell us now. Tell us all about this.
I guess part of me and my personality is that I love hiking, I love camping, and I love just like, I don't know, traveling around. And so that was, I think I was 20 or 21.
Yeah, so the photo is from 2019.
Yeah, exactly. 2019. Well, that was probably a throwback.
Yes.
I don't know. I think I was like 20 or 21. That was my last year of college, right before my senior year. Yeah, right before my senior year. I had been playing the whole summer, different amateur tournaments, and I was like, I need some time off. 2 of my friends and I just like grabbed a van and I said, let's go travel the coast of Portugal. So for 4 or 5 days, I went with one of my best friends. She's like my sister, basically. And another friend, and we just kind of, it's kind of corny, weird. My only thing was that we had to get to where we were going before sunset because I wanted to go to the beach and have a beer by the sunset. And that was like,
why not?
That's what I love the most. So yeah, we just traveled the coast of Portugal. We went through Porto, Lisbon. Like we just like did a little bit of a 4 or 5 day trip down the coast of Portugal.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that is. So you you slept in the van. Is that kind of the deal? You slept.
Yeah. That was the deal. The deal was like park the van.
Yeah.
The van before it got dark, and that was where we would wake up.
What an adventure!
And go out, have coffee, and that was it. Yeah.
10 out of 10. Love that.
3 of us in a little van. So yeah, it's. I'll try.
You're talking about your journey in golf, but you're talking about travel. I'm genuinely curious about, I think if I read it correctly, where you're from in Spain is like a capital of a region. Is that correct? Okay, so
Yeah, that's
you
correct.
come from there to Troy, Alabama. What is that like when you're going from where you're from to Middle America, for lack of a better description?
It was a very big shock, just because if you know, like the European lifestyle
Sure.
is more, like I lived a little bit more in the countryside, but like my high school, like all my life was like in the city, and it was not a super big city, but it's like you say, the capital of our state, basically, in
Right.
a way. And I was used to like going to high school in like downtown Santiago, and like all my life was like in this like downtown Santiago. Like you don't have to do the drive or anything; you just like that's it. And so all of a sudden, I didn't even go on a visit to Troy, Alabama. I just committed over the phone. I Googled it and it was real. So I was like, they offered
Okay,
me a
guess we're good.
scholarship.
Yeah.
Yeah, they offered me a scholarship and I said, yeah, we're doing it, I guess. And I remember they picked me up in Montgomery Airport. Two of my teammates picked me up and they drove me to Troy. And it's about a 45-minute drive. All I saw in both sides were like
Sure.
fields. And that was it.
You're like,
And I was
what did I
like,
Very
do?
different.
What did I get myself into?
First time to
Like,
America, or had you been to America before?
I had been to California to just practice my English,
Okay,
like the
okay.
Very
year before
different.
or something.
Yeah.
But you can only imagine California and Alabama are quite different.
You're just stating the facts. It's very, very different. That's it. Exactly.
And so I remember thinking, what did I do? And then of course, like the accents, everything was so different. I mean, I remember the first semester, I was like, I don't know that I'm gonna last here very long. 10 years
Fair.
later, I'm still in
I was
Alabama.
gonna say,
so-
it must have like made some impression on you, because there you are. You're still there, still calling it home.
Still here. The people are just so welcoming and so nice to me that I just can't leave.
Amazing. That's so great. I'll leave you just kind of with this last one as you look ahead. I mean, obviously, you're still young, of course, but it's not like you're 16 or 17 or something like that, just kind of coming out onto the tour. Do you feel like as you kind of re-enter the LPGA Tour space, the fact that you've got this kind of maturity under your belt is actually maybe going to be something beneficial for you as you look ahead to this next season?
Yeah, 100%. And like I get to have a do-over, I guess, in what I've done in the past. So that also gives me a little bit more of an advantage, I think. But yeah, you say I'm still young, and it's really funny because I was playing on the Epson Tour, and the girl sitting next to me getting her car is 18.
Right.
And I'm like, whoa, okay, this is really weird. And I'm playing with girls that like, oh, but like, how old are you? You look like 21. I'm like, yeah, no, like I have
You're like,
a few more
thanks,
Take that.
experience.
but-
Yeah. Sunscreen,
Take
etc.
that,
Yeah.
exactly. No, but I think it will help, honestly. This like maturity or like, again, perspective, and just knowing what to expect. And I feel like even though I will be, like going back on the LPGA and I have not spent that much time out there, I kind of feel a little bit of a veteran just for all the experience that I've gotten from the Epson Tour,
Sure.
which has made me honestly like better as a player and as a person. And that'll hopefully play in my favor for the next year.
Tremendous. Well,
Love that.
amazing year, obviously. Big carrot, big reward at the end of this year to be able to go back to the LPGA Tour. So big congratulations from all of us. Hope, I'll send it back to you.
Yes, I just have one more question for you before we wrap up, but I know that Epson Tour means a lot to you. I saw Jody up there, Jody Brothers, crying, presenting the award to you, the Epson Community Award. You are just a light everywhere you go, and that's something I've always noticed about you. And I mean, just in general, like, what do you have to say about the people, about the tour that's kind of helped you get to where you are?
I mean, I have nothing but great things to say. I think it's really funny to look back and think, 2018 was my rookie year out there. From 2018 to this year, things have changed for the better. Purses have gotten bigger. Jody has done a tremendous job at, lowering our costs, increasing our the prize money and all that stuff. But something really cool about Jody that I notice about him is that he cares. Like he knows
he
all of
does.
our names. He knows all of our like backstories almost, which I don't even know how he does. And he just seems like he just cares so much. And it was really cool to see him get emotional. We had a little chat before, and he's like, I'm gonna try not to cry. I don't know if I'll do it. I'm like,
You're like, okay.
I'm gonna try too. But then he
okay.
presented the award. Exactly. And then he presented the award, and I had this whole speech planned for this award. And then I was just crying. I'm like, no, I can't. Just because it just means so much. Even after I lost my card and I went back to the Epson Tour, some people might think like, oh, it's bittersweet, you're here, blah, blah, blah. People were so nice to me. People were so like welcoming. People were like, they seemed genuinely happy to see me again. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I had been out there and I had failed at it, whatever. I was back on the Epson, but it felt not that I was back home. Like, I don't want to go back home, I guess, if that's my home.
Right.
But people were actually like happy to see me. And like, when I came back from the injury, they were kind of like celebrating that. And that is actually super cool. It speaks a lot about the character of the players out there. It's a great tour. There's so much talent, so much really good golf, so many really good players. But I think it just speaks a lot of the people. The human factor of it it's huge. And from the, staff, players, Jody himself, it's just great.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I know Jody caddied last week, which was crazy. I was like, you're braver than me. But thank you so much for joining us. We're so, so happy for you. And we cannot wait to follow your journey on the LPGA Tour and just watch you crush it because you will.
Congrats again.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you to Fati for catching up with us. I am so excited to see her teed up on the LPGA Tour next year. But before we get to next year, we got to talk about the end of this year, guys. It is the beginning of the Asia swing. We officially have players over in Asia, which is a very exciting part of the year. You could get some very late night golf or maybe early morning golf, however you want to look at it, in every single night. So I love this part of the year, and I'm going to toss it to you, Adam, to go over what we have on the docket, what is coming up for us.
Yeah, so four events are going to make up this end of season Asia swing. So obviously, as we mentioned, we've got this week the Buick LPGA Shanghai, which is back in China. Angel Yin is the defending champion for this week. And then we've got the BMW Ladies Championship, that's in South Korea. Then we've got the Maybank Championship, and then the Toto Japan Classic. So we're going China, South Korea, Malaysia, and Japan, which is very, very exciting, very geographically robust, which should be awesome. And then a cheeky stopover in Hawaii before you come back to the United States for the final two events of the season. So Hope, like you mentioned, obviously a 4-event stretch. We'll probably see some of the players. Maybe they're going to play all 4 since they're already over there, but probably most will do a little bit of a mix and match of some of these events over in Asia. But, Emma, I wanted to kind of throw it back to you because once that 4-tournament stretch concludes, then for the golfers who are maybe outside that top 100 or anyone else who's really trying to make a late season climb, they really only have those final 2 events to go in order to kind of maybe stamp their ticket for 2025 or kind of earn the points they need to get into the CME Tour Championship. You can almost kind of go on and on about what those final 2 events of the season prior to the season finale really mean to a lot of the players. So the Lotte Championship and then the Annika driven by Gamebridge at Pelican. Those are the final 2. Emma, how important are those 2 events? If maybe you weren't looking at the points list throughout the season, you definitely are probably looking at those lists into those 2 events.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Asia swing's a bit of a bonus. And for the girls, most of the girls I would say that are playing in Asia are not going to be playing Hawaii. So the field is going a bit deeper for Hawaii, which is exciting. But it also gives room for people behind you to almost jump you. So people like me, I'm 130-something on CME at the moment, and I would love to keep my card. But the good thing is after this past tournament in Arkansas was the cutoff. So everybody from 101 to 150 has the opportunity to go straight to the final stage of qualifying, which is great because, you're going to have some sort of status going into next year.
Let's go, Emma. Let's go.
Yeah,
some status. Rocking.
Yeah. As far as Hawaii and Pelican, yes, people know they have to play well going into that tournament. I know in years past, it's always like someone bounces up. I remember last year, I think it was Jasmine Swanapora, who actually just won. She bumped up like 40 spots the last tournament. So, there's a lot of people that will play really well, and then all of a sudden it's like, what? I was struggling to keep my card, and now I'm 65th. So you really can make a big jump in those last couple of events, which is very stressful for some people, and obviously very exciting for those that feel confident about their game and confident for the end of the season. And also, it's a big week for the people trying to get into CME too, because that's a big purse, and that's our Tour Championship. Everybody wants to play in the Tour Championship. There's no cut, and that field will be decided from Pelican. So lots of moving parts at the moment going into this last part of the season, and these are the big parts. These are the big chunks of the season that you feel the pressure, because it affects your whole job for the next year.
Yeah, definitely. The Annika is always a very interesting week, and I think it's intriguing that now we have another tournament kind of slotted in there, and players have more chances to maybe get into CME, like you were saying, and then obviously better their status for 2025. But it is coming down. It is crunch time, honestly, on the LPGA Tour. And just a random little shout out, because we were talking about Annika. Caitlin Clark is going to be there playing in the Pro-Am, which is, I know, she's a legend. So y'all stay tuned for that content, because I'm going to meet her and I'm so excited. I can't wait to meet her. I think I'm going to fangirl a little bit.
As you should.
Yes, exactly. But I think that kind of wraps us up for today. There is a lot going on, and the season is getting closer to ending. But at the end of the day, we still have a lot more left. There's still a lot of play to be had. We have 4 weeks in Asia, and then all the other weeks that you guys were just talking about. So with that, thank you guys for joining me. And we got some exciting content coming up in Asia. So everybody stay tuned.
Y'all come back now, you hear?